Hey guys, I'm Brett, and welcome to Pastor Chat with Pastor Lynn. So listen, Pastor Lynn, we just came out of an incredible service, great message. One of the things that you stressed big time was, of course, there's this difference between knowing a lot of Bible and living a lot of Bible. But there are some people who just don't know any Bible.
Right.
So what advice do you give to individuals who want to know a lot of Bible?
Yeah. And, that was kind of where we were pushing and saying, look, you're probably not going to get enough just coming in Sunday morning. You're just not. And so you're going to have to make a commitment that says, hey, how do I bring more scripture into my life? Right. So I think you've got things like the daily devotions that we do. That's going to nudge you a little bit in your life. But I think probably even more importantly is getting into a room with other believers who are working through doing the same thing you are, trying to incorporate more Bible in their life. And hence why we have small groups and small churches and men's and women's Bible studies. We do all of that so that everybody has the opportunity to get more Bible.
Right.
Yeah.
So even as you were talking, this question just kind of popped up in my head as far as living the Bible, right?
Yeah.
What are just some simple, everyday, practical things that people can do to actually live the Bible out?
Yeah. Well, I think, when you run into the Bible, one of the things the Bible does is it kind of pricks our heart, right? And I think you and I have to be super sensitive to that when we all of a sudden go, ooh, hey, it just talked about being kind. And instantly I remembered a moment in my life when I wasn't kind. And I think in those moments, you've got to be responsive. You've got to say, hey, I get that. I get that's God talking to me and pointing out where I need to adjust in my behavior, what I've been learning about from scripture. I think the other is to live in community with people, because there'll be moments in which people are going to see things in your life. And if you've given them permission to kind of hold up a mirror in your life and say, hey, remember, we've been saying this in scripture together, but this is a moment that doesn't look a whole lot like scripture.
Right.
And, we do this every day in real life, right? We get in front of a mirror because we want to make sure our hair looks right and we don't have something hanging where it shouldn't be hanging. We have to do that same thing with scripture. We've got to hold the mirror up to ourselves. But secondly, giving people in our lives permission to hold up the mirror and say, hey, here's the Bible, here's you. And there's a misalignment there.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So, I come from the hip hop culture.
Yeah.
And you dropped a line that said, yes.
And then I dropped my mic right after that.
He dropped his mic. Pastor Lynn dropped the bar. The bar was this: God doesn't waste pain.
Yeah.
There are people who are probably watching this who are going through some painful experiences.
Yeah.
What would you say to them as just words of encouragement as it relates to how to deal with that pain and where God lands in that process?
Right. I think one of the things we do, what causes it, we get so focused on the pain, and that's, that's natural to do that. And so then the second focus out of that is, how do I stop the pain, right? How do I resolve it? And so often when we do that, it pushes us to figure it out ourselves, to lean in our own capacity to do it. I think it is so much more powerful in the moment of pain that we then turn our eyes instead of on the pain, but on God. And we say, God, okay, look, if I really believe that you don't waste pain, then I have to believe that you brought the pain for a reason. There's something I'm supposed to learn. There's somebody who's supposed to see Jesus in the way that I handle my pain. There's something going on here. Pain isn't random. God, you've got a plan. And the cool part is, let's say it's a lesson. If I say, okay, God, what are you trying to teach me? And then God starts speaking to my heart. And he says, hey, I'm teaching you patience, or I'm teaching you to love somebody that you would not normally love. Well, the quicker I lean into that lesson and say, okay, I'm going to start loving that guy that I don't love, or loving that gal who, it kind of offends. The second I learn it, then I don't need the lesson anymore, right? So then God can remove the pain, and I'm on the other side that much quicker on the deal. So this idea of leaning in to the pain and saying, okay, God, teach me, but teach me quick because I'm ready to be done, is super powerful in our lives.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I appreciate you taking the time with us today.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in to another Pastor Chat with Pastor Lynn.